Episode 264. Chen Yihui was mentally calculating his own plans. Outwardly, however, he was discussing Lord Grimm's current whereabouts with Cold Night River and Lone Hermit. But the three guild leaders could only command their own men. The players from the other four guilds paid them no mind, scattering through the woods in search of Lord Grimm and his crew.
Morons! You think they'd just stick around waiting for you to kill them?
Gu Yin watched these figures darting back and forth, utterly speechless.
No one coming from any direction has spotted them.
By process of elimination, we can narrow down their possible routes. If they're just trying to avoid us, any of those are possible.
Nigel Peng said.
But they certainly won't just waste time like this for no reason. They'll have a destination in the end.
Chen Yihui, standing nearby, said, if they go to places like Sky Strike City, the Glazed Lands, or the Bone Burial Grounds, they'll definitely be spotted.
Their only options are to head to one.
Land Gorge or the higher level Blazing Forest.
They could also be doing quests in the villages outside Kongji City.
Right? We can send some people over there to scout it out.
As the three of them discussed, they could only dispatch players from their own guilds to handle matters. They had no idea who was currently in charge of the other four guilds. Gu Yin was already starting to voice his displeasure over the lack of unified command. In his view, the disastrous defeat at Sky Forest was largely due to this very reason.
As for Wanyan Valley, Sai.
Night River Coalpool suddenly stopped mid-sentence. What's wrong?
We just got word they've headed to One Line Canyon.
Where'd that intel come from?
A player on a quest to Empty Forest ran into them on the way. They're heading for One Line Canyon. It's pretty much confirmed.
They're not still thinking about running that dungeon in Line Canyon, are they?
Gu Yin was thoroughly frustrated. He'd been so busy he hadn't even had a chance to run the dungeon yet. Meanwhile, Lord Grimm and his crew had coolly taken down 32 players and then just waltzed right into the dungeon. It seemed all their own frantic efforts had zero impact on Lord Grimm's group. Nothing could have disappointed them more.
Don't tell me these guys are still thinking about breaking a record.
Nigel felt speechless. Their guild leader, Jiang Yu, was personally leading the top players from the Divine Domain to study One Line Canyon, preparing to set a record that would shake the heavens, to restore the guild's reputation. His job was to work with the other guilds to hinder Lord Grimm's progress. But now, Lord Grimm wasn't feeling any pressure at all. He was still running dungeons as usual. How utterly insolent. Gu Yin was furious. He was caught in a dilemma. Lord Grimm and the others hiding away pissed him off. But being so blatantly exposed and ignored by them, he was equally pissed off. Either way, he was just plain pissed.
With 50 dungeon entrances in Line Canyon, blocking them all would be no easy feat.
Chen Yihui.
They'll be coming and going at least 3 times. We can confirm the pattern first, then gather our forces.
Nigel Peng remarked from the side. He was frantic at that moment, truly afraid that Lord Grimm and his crew would immediately set an unbeatable record.
Enough talk. Straight to One Line Gorge.
On Lone Concealment's side, the order had clearly been given. Their Samsara Guild players were already moving out, heading for One Line Gorge. Inside the One Line Gorge dungeon, Ye Xiu and his team swept through the dungeon like an autumn gale. Sadly, a record run was out of the question this time. That early mistake had doomed their final time. So the group stopped worrying and just played freely. Tang Ru fought with particular abandon, clearly channeling her PK mindset into the dungeon. However, after clearing the first Bao SS, Tang Ru gradually began to lose interest, clearly no longer possessing her initial enthusiasm. The same thing happened with Bao Zi. Both of them went from hot to cold. They had finally settled into a state of casual indifference.
Hey, you talk.
Ye Xiu called out, "Come on, perk up a bit."
Hey, 把遊戲 sing us a song. Don't you dare sing.
Su Mu Cheng and Tang Ru cried out in shock, almost in unison. Yi Xiu felt as if he'd heard the same sound in 2 different realities. Several other patrons in the internet cafe also turned to look in a certain direction. Tang Ru perked up for a moment, as if startled, but the effect was short-lived. Before long, she was looking listless again.
What's wrong? Bored already?
Yeah,
Perfectly normal. Yeshu had witnessed Tang Ru's entire gaming journey firsthand. For a newcomer girl who wasn't exactly passionate about games, dungeon records was actually a pretty numb concept, what Tang Ru enjoyed. But the competition inherent in that, this indirect rivalry of achievements, how could it ever compare to the sheer thrill of a direct player versus player PK?
Tang Ru had been through that before.
But today's match was completely different. In the arena, the average player was no match for Tang Ru. There was no challenge, no difficulty. She crushed them effortlessly, and that just wasn't satisfying. Facing off against the tiny herb team was a different story for Tang Ru. The difficulty was too high, the challenge too great. Even giving it her all, she couldn't win. There was no satisfaction to be found there. Only today's battle, the one where she broke out from Kongji City, offered her both difficulty and a true challenge. She pushed herself to 120%, performing beyond her limits, and she pulled it off. This was a victory that truly satisfied her, even though she hadn't taken a single life. But for Tang Ru, this was her first time truly feeling the thrill of playing Glory. For the very first time, she felt the true joy of it. That sense of satisfaction and joy after a success. It was unlike anything she had ever experienced since she started playing Glory. Even setting a dungeon record, a feat other players would consider miraculous, held less meaning for Tang Ru than this thrilling escape. The excitement from that moment stayed with her for a long time. Now, however, the excitement was gradually fading, and by comparison, the current dungeon run felt rather dull and tedious. PvE can never compare to PvP, not even in record-breaking runs, which also demand focus and perfect execution. In PvE, that focus is just to maintain robotic mechanical play. Don't make a mistake, like Concealed Light's idiot-proof guide. That really takes the mind-numbing boredom of PvE to the extreme. And the regrettable truth is, the best PvE records are forged in that very monotony. But in PvP, you focus to observe better, to judge better. That's the essence of combat. Every moment brimming with the unknown. The most boring part of PvE compared to PvP is that once you've mastered the method, there's no suspense left. Whether it's mobs, a boss, or a dungeon, no matter what you do, you already know the ending. You'll defeat the monster or clear the dungeon. Playing through a match where you already know the outcome is always tedious. And PvE is exactly that kind of match. Even Yeshu didn't find PvE particularly interesting, nor would he try to make Tang Ru find fun in it. For him, PvE was just another training method to improve his PvP skills, and Tang Ru, immersed in this training, steadily honed her skills. Yet she herself remained completely unaware of it.